Right, hey guys, how are we doing? We're on the last video for the best fights in Dragon Ball series and Totally Not Mark. This is the top 20. We've gone through Dragon Ball, Z, and Super, and he hinted potentially that Daima could be on the list in this top 20 best fights in Dragon Ball. Let's see what's made the list.
Over the last month, I have spent countless hours ranking every single fight in Dragon Ball history, all with the express goal of creating this very list I will share with you today. When ranking Dragon Ball's greatest fights, it's tempting to focus on its flashiest transformations and the coolest moments that spring to mind, but for this list, I've made my picks based on character, how they advance the story, and in the case of some of them, how they've changed me and the world of anime forever. This list might not be
Frieza
definitive,
Goku.
but it is mine and exhaustive. These are Totally Not Mark's top 20 greatest fights in Dragon Ball history.
Let's have it.
Number 20. Kicking off this list is the fight that single-handedly ushered in the modern Dragon Ball era. It introduces the Super Saiyan.
It's true. This did bring it all back, didn't it, really? Like, we got the new form. Beerus is a new, like, kind of really strong entity. We had, like, a whole different part of the world opened up with this. Yeah.
Offers an exceptionally catchy insert song, has the "I will not let you destroy my world" scene, and from a structural standpoint, it's a fascinating exploration of Beerus' character, with the fight itself operating on two separate levels. For Goku, it's a genuine fight for the Earth's survival, highlighted by his willingness to borrow power to get the job done. But for Beerus, we eventually discovered that he's treating this bout less like a fight and more like a training session,
Yeah, he's
coaxing
sparring.
out the potential from Goku piece by piece, eventually culminating in Goku genuinely surprising and impressing Beerus enough to spare the Earth he once threatened. Number 19. Okay, while not the first fight that springs to mind when you think of top Dragon Ball fights ever in the series, this impromptu team-up between Goku and Frieza, upon closer inspection, for me at least, reveals a surprisingly great and far more important function than most would give it credit for.
I mean, it is decent, like, it's pretty cool. And then Frieza coming back and in full form, just like, kill, 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 kill.
Smooth animation and sinister visuals certainly help this fight feel memorable, but it's what this fight establishes Frieza as that serves to enhance not only the value of this fight, but indeed what makes the entire arc's success and its breathtaking conclusion possible. Exceptionally underrated. Number 18. Vegeta vs. Broly is one of the most cathartic and
Mate, this fight is so good. Yeah, I'm glad this is on the list.
exciting Vegeta confrontation
Veggies
since
versus
Android 19 got
broccoli.
a full factory reset. But that's not to say there's nothing to this fight beyond its stunningly gorgeous facade. Due to the nature of Vegeta's character, we rarely see him start a fight with anything less than full power, and even fewer where we actually get to hear his internal thoughts. While the fight feels thrilling in part due to Broly and Paragus' ignorance of Vegeta's true power, what this fight does exceptionally well is communicate Broly's character traits through combat. With each punch and newly received transformation, we can see Vegeta start to struggle and Broly gets stronger and stronger
Yeah.
as the seconds tick on by. What begins as a casual warm-up eventually swells beyond the scope of his own abilities.
Yeah, it
It's
becomes
fun,
something completely different, doesn't it? The evolution of this fight is so unreal from the beginning to end.
it's creatively interesting, and services both combatants' respective characters perfectly. Number 17.
Oh, okay, here we go. Right. Okay, alright.
That's right, Dragon Ball Daima is on this list, and you know what? Rightly so. Goku and Piccolo's sideline
fight.
commentary perfectly showcases two of the universe's greatest warriors transfixed on the unique puzzle Goma represents. While I might have had my issues with the little demon guy to begin with, the approach he necessitates at the end is exceptionally fitting. They can't rely on raw power alone, and thus what's drawn out is a collective determination from multiple players.
Everybody
Goku's
in.
inspiring actions, Neva's ultimate assist, Glorio's heartfelt wish, Vegeta's reluctant cooperation, Piccolo's cunning strategy, Arinsu's assistance, and Ku's crucial discovery of Goma's one weakness, culminating in the single greatest Kamehameha I have ever seen.
Yo.
Transcending the physical
High
target
praise.
of the attack itself, this blast shatters the dividing boundaries that have segregated these worlds for a millennium.
that's pretty cool to see as well,
Fittingly,
yeah.
it's through Goma's defeat that Dragon Ball Daima reminds us that the greatness we seek in times of uncertainty can indeed come from the most unlikely of places. Number 16. I don't think there's a single better villain introduction in the entire series than this right here. What this outing might have lacked in visual fluidity, it more than made up for in its establishment of mystery, sinister implication, and staggering levels of tension. And the fight achieves this tension through its framework and structure alone. Unlike the vast majority of fights in this series which resolve through the defeat of another, this opening bout between Goku Black and Trunks has a very different winning condition: stay alive and escape to the past.
It's gotta go.
It's a creatively novel and deeply effective introduction to Goku Black as this unstoppable specter looming and watching from afar, while positioning Trunks as an out of his depth but tremendously heroic figure for his timeline. Number 15. This is an incredible fight, but what elevated it onto this list for me was less the stunning choreography and instead the implicit subtext of the clash itself. Everything from the build-up to Goku pulling out all the stops in record time to the confident grin he brandishes after voluntarily surrendering to Cell is all so clearly calling back to Roshi bowing out for Tenshinhan during the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai. Roshi then was acknowledging the ascension of the next generation, and Goku right here is choosing to do the very same.
I never thought about that. I've never seen that. Don't think I have anyway. Seen that comparison being made before. That's pretty cool.
But the brilliance of this creative flourish doesn't come about through how it successfully mirrors the past, but rather how this choice brings to light something entirely new and tragic. Goku does not understand his son in the slightest.
No.
And unbeknownst to him, he fed him to the wolves. Number 14. Many of you right now are probably thinking I've lost my mind by placing this higher than some of the other earlier entries, but you have to remember, I'm not rating these based on how hype the fights are. I'm rating them based on how effectively they communicate the story. And let me tell you, narratively, it does absolutely everything right and then some. From a plot perspective, this fight facilitates the introduction of a third party, and through doing so, injects a brilliant element of chaos into what was becoming a very predictable format. It beautifully establishes not just Doo's character, but additionally exposes the true value of Majin Buu as a strategic, intellectual, and compassionate persona, while managing to somehow create truly awesome, novel, and inventive action sequences that manage to toe the line between comedic and genuinely thrilling. The way Doo's Majin physiology informs every aspect of his fighting style is exceptional. The way his youth is brought into focus by literally discovering his own powers through combat is
just
exciting.
try to copy everybody is so cool.
The that's established between these two brothers is easily one of the best parts of the entire series. Number 13. This fight is a fascinating deconstruction of Vegeta's character at this point in his life. Split across two sections, this fight contrasts utter ecstasy, narcissism, and egotistical fantasy against a cruel and disappointing reality born through willful delusion and through the profoundly cold neglect of his own child. Despite his rebirth on Namek, Vegeta as we once knew him never truly returned. The anger that once drove him his entire existence is gone thanks to the power of others. The Saiyan Prince then is left with two choices.
The power of a woman and her vajayjay.
Find out who he truly is, or relapse into the same anger that put him into the dirt in the first place. And that's what this fight is for me. Despite the physical sacrifice, time, and torture he put himself through to get to this point of strength, in the end, all that work represented was naive cowardice because he simply refused to address the...
In the end, it didn't even matter. Sorry, such for like a power reference.
Core issue of his character.
Sorry, I had to.
The worst part is, a defeat that once only impacted himself now carries with it tremendous collateral damage for his wife, for his son, and indeed, every living person alive today. Number 12. What makes Jackie Chun versus Son Goku so exceptional is its narrative sleight of hand. While audiences around the world watch wondering if Goku can win this thing, the real story unfolding is through Roshi's internal struggle. Can he achieve what's best for Goku by defeating him? This perspective therefore transforms this from another fight into the single most important lesson Goku will ever learn, with Roshi's increasing desperation forcing him to dig deeper into his big bag of tricks as Goku effortlessly counters techniques acquired over decades. On a visual front, this battle introduces elements that eventually become franchise staples, most notably the beam struggle, but it's toying on the spatial awareness that truly shines here, with the tournament stage effectively becoming a three-dimensional playground upon which jumping, flying, lunging, spinning all feel purposeful and innovative. Heck, the moon's appearance here forces the fight into unexpected territory, creating
Yeah.
Toriyama's first major mid-battle paradigm shift. But most importantly, it strips both fighters of their absolute limits, setting up the perfect philosophical conclusion to the fight and indeed the lesson. Roshi's victory comes not from superior technique or strength, but from basic physical advantage. This ending crystallizes the lesson he desperately wanted Goku to learn, that no matter how good you think you are, there's always
Someone
room
better.
to grow. Proving that the
Oh,
best
okay.
battles aren't always about the strongest fighters.
Yeah, that's a better lesson, isn't it? It's like, there's me, like, doesn't matter how well you do, someone's always going to be better than you. It's, no. There's always room for improvement. That's a better look at it. I like that. There is always room for improvement.
Winning, but about what each participant gains from the experience. It's honestly criminal that so many Dragon Ball Z fans don't know that this fight exists, because it contains the DNA of everything
Yeah, it's so
that makes
class.
the series special. Number 11. This fight is a psychological masterpiece disguised as a
Vegeta vs. Android 19 is so cool. Just seeing him break down the robot. Do you sense fear, or is it do you feel fear? You will.
satisfying beatdown, and I will explain why. On first viewing, this fight delivers everything fans expect from peak Vegeta. The Super Saiyan transformation, the iconic one-liners, the devastating
smug
techniques,
look.
all wrapped in delicious dramatic irony. The androids have no knowledge of what transpired on Namek, no understanding of how much Vegeta himself has grown, making their overconfidence deeply satisfying to witness. But this fight takes on entirely new life upon second viewing, revealing layers that most Dragon Ball battles simply don't possess. What initially appears as pure dominance and bravado becomes something far more complicated. A carefully curated psychological performance with genuine stakes beneath the surface. The energy absorption abilities of these androids creates a ticking clock that Vegeta, upon first contact, is acutely made aware of,
Oh,
even
yeah.
if he doesn't show it.
He
This
knows.
therefore recontextualizes his goading of Android 19, reframing it as strategic warfare designed to eliminate the android's resolve. Every taunt, every moment of apparent overconfidence becomes part of a deliberate strategy to control the pace and psychology of the encounter. In other words,
not even
Vegeta
looking at it.
forces his opponent to reveal fear while concealing his own mounting desperation. As the fight progresses and his energy drains, his performance only becomes more impressive. Having already proven to possess more power than they initially were made aware of, Vegeta leverages that fact, that lack of understanding, to present himself as even greater than he actually is. This therefore transforms the fight from simple but cathartic wish fulfillment into a fascinating Vegeta character study. Vegeta's tactical intelligence operates on multiple levels: physical combat, energy management, and pure mental warfare. He understands that showing fear first means losing everything, so he weaponizes his own pride as
yeah.
both shield and sword. Number 10.
Ooh, we're in the
Frieza
top 10.
represents everything Dragon
Mate, yeah, come on. Ooh, the Frieza fight. Wait. Gotta be higher. I mean, it's in the top 10. So it has to be in the top 10.
Ball's
doesn't it?
philosophy opposes: the embodiment of unearned, individualistic power. Oh, I swear, when Gohan screams, "Move!"
Ah, okay. Okay, fine. Very cool. Goku versus Frieza, those got to be up there, surely. Right, okay. Okay, I feel better about this now.
At the literal devil of the universe, to this day, it gives me chills. Crystallizing everything he's ever learned about courage with no training,
Yeah, it's
and
class
facing
seeing Gohan
someone
go
who
up against him.
truly terrifies him beyond measure. All Gohan registers is an obstacle, something standing between him and his friend who needs him, culminating in an attack that becomes the first significant point of damage dealt to Frieza in the entire series. Also, the whole rescue sequence showcases Dragon Ball's collaborative philosophy in action. Krillin saves Gohan because of every instance where Gohan risked his life for others. Dende's healing comes into play because Gohan saved him earlier. Every instance of trouble they cause Frieza comes about due to this very element Frieza denies. It's such a cathartic, dramatic, and tense back and forth with moments of genuine emotional stakes here. Also, when Gohan recovers after being healed again, that expression he levies towards the tyrant contains everything the series
you know
believes
he's gonna
about heroism.
beat
It's
some
not about being
poop
the
out of him.
strongest, it's about refusing to abandon those who cannot protect themselves. And through doing so, highlights the strength of heroism in making a difficult choice rather than leaning on inherited power. Number 9. What's there to say about Goku versus Jiren Round 1? Well,
All
what
right.
strikes me most is how it functions as a perfect encapsulation of Goku's core philosophy through systematic failure. Where most characters would approach Jiren with fear, nerves, or resignation,
Goku's like, I need to test
treats
the
him
water.
like a fascinating puzzle for himself
Yeah.
to enjoy. His methodical escalation through transformations almost feels like scientific curiosity, slowly sliding the scale until he notices the smallest reaction. It's an approach of genuine excitement, and for this to be how the fight opens, suddenly the goalposts recede from can Goku defeat Jiren to can Goku make Jiren even move? Through each failed attempt, something essential about Goku's character is revealed here. His willingness to exhaust every option without frustration or self-doubt demonstrates a kind of mental purity that most fighters simply lack. He's not thinking about winning or losing here, he's thinking about understanding only, and this mindset becomes crucial when Ultra Instinct requires the absence of conscious thought. Which therefore means that once UI is achieved by Goku, it's not as a reward for his effort, but rather a natural extension of who Goku has always been as a fighter. But there's one problem with this entry. There's another fight between Goku and Jiren that's admittedly more straightforward, but far prettier, more epic, with its own incredible moments of Ultra Instinct Goku goodness. From a storytelling perspective, I love the first one a little more, but it's
Yeah.
impossible to separate these two Jiren fights as the first very much informs the next. Concerning the second fight, it's difficult to discount the insane levels of suspense, drama, and eventual catharsis/payoff we feel once Goku finally does the unthinkable. The gods all stand up in unison, Whis smiles, and Goku finally unleashes his might onto Captain Boring over there. In the end, I still prefer the first fight more, but on a different day I could easily see myself deciding to put this second bout in its place. Number 8. I do not want to hear a single word complaining about the placement of this fight on this list. This underrated fight delivers more story-altering revelations per chapter than perhaps any other battle in the series' history.
It's one hell of an opening. I remember watching Dragon Ball Z and just being like, never seen Dragon Ball, by the way, and just being like, whoa, this is pretty cool. Sick. Who is this guy? Who's that guy? I need to know. This fight's awesome.
Reinforcing Goku's alien heritage, establishing Gohan's hidden potential, Piccolo's capacity for growth by teaming up with his most fierce adversary in Goku, and of course, the looming Saiyan threat, to name but a few. This is a fight that's packed to bursting with content. Even the scouter technology that this fight introduces, by the way, becomes both an invaluable expository device as well as a strong thematic statement for the series moving forward into the cosmos. Those who reduce strength to numbers become blind to collaboration, technique, sacrifice, and the true source of strength itself. And that's clear in the battle itself. When Raditz dismisses their individual power readings as weak, he finds himself repeatedly cornered by the combined efforts of refined techniques. In other words, this is intentional. It's a miscalculation, sure, but it's also a sophisticated piece of narrative foreshadowing, emphasizing the very fatal flaw that ultimately leads to Vegeta's defeat. There's an argument to be made here that this is one of the most pivotal fights in the entire series. It connects Goku with Vegeta, Gohan with Piccolo, Goku with King Kai, and Raditz with, I don't know, Gohan's head. Also, Goku dies.
Well, it also sets up a really cool narrative for Team 4 Star's Hiffle. Raditz being there, first person being there. It's brilliant. It's genius. I want another Hiffle episode. Give me a Hiffle episode.
From beginning to end, this fight doesn't have a single dull moment and serves as our first taste of what Goku's weaknesses are for the looming Saiyan invasion. Everything about this is brilliant and might be the single best non-climax fight for me in the entire show. Number 7. This fight is intense, brutal, and an all-out struggle for survival, but
Nappa beating
ultimately
everyone
operates
down
as
is
a
just
meditation
insane.
on privilege versus perseverance.
What I love about this as well is that, like, we've had the whole training thing. We know they've all been training for this, and still they get absolutely annihilated.
Versus nurture, if you'd like. Nappa and Vegeta, born into a higher class and accustomed to bulldozing opposition, cannot comprehend the Earthlings' refusal to surrender and their insistence on finding a way to win. And through doing so, reveals something crucial about them in the process. They've never had to overcome adversity themselves. It's a foreign concept, an inexperience that proves to be a substantial hurdle for both of these Saiyan invaders to get past once confronted later with Goku. But it's Piccolo's sacrifice here that represents the arc's central message.
Wait.
Born with a supposed inherited evil,
Dodge. Why
defined
didn't you
entirely by his
dodge?
creator's hand, Piccolo chooses instead to die for love, betraying a vulnerability and a completeness to Piccolo's character arc, establishing the emotional stakes for Gohan's development, and going on to prove that the most powerful transformations in the series happen not through power-ups, but through the courage to defy what others expect you to be. Heck, the very fact that Gohan's first signature technique isn't a Kamehameha, but instead a Masenko, reinforces how bonds themselves transcend inherited expectation. Number 6. This is around where the list becomes extremely hard for me to judge, so let's get this out of the way early. Gohan transforming into a Super Saiyan 2 is easily one of the most famous and beloved moments in the entire franchise.
God,
but
what
for
a
me,
moment.
what makes this interesting is that the final push against Cell is the culmination of years of character development disguised as a final battle, and it's the closest Dragon Ball gets to Shakespeare in my opinion. The real narrative centerpiece of this conflict rests on the shoulders of two fathers confronting their fundamental misunderstanding of their children. Goku's expectation for Gohan to share his love of fighting mirrors the same expectations he once faced from Raditz and Vegeta. Conversely, Vegeta's journey runs parallel but inverted. Where Goku thought he knew Gohan but was wrong, Vegeta convinced himself he didn't care about Trunks.
Mate,
Ultimately,
yeah.
it
My
requires
baby
extreme
boy!
circumstances for both fathers to recognize who their children truly are, rather than who they expect them to be. Goku's sacrifice represents really his final lesson to learn: unconditional support. His encouragement during the beam struggle shows he's finally learned to be the father Gohan needs him to be, rather than the trainer he would have always wanted. Additionally, Vegeta's arc completes when Trunks' death strips his ego entirely, resulting in a rage-driven attack and the first sincere apology of his entire life to Gohan.
I'm sorry,
Finally
Gohan.
positioning these two flawed characters who once struggled to accept what they need to be to finally work
Who was it? I think it's totally not Mark, is it? Isn't it that Vegeta apologized? The only person Vegeta's apologized to is Gohan. Twice? Within the series or something, I think? Yeah, I think that's brilliant.
together, placing their egos and personal desires to one side in what ultimately became one of the single greatest narrative triumphs
Oh,
in the
God.
genre. Number 5. This fight serves as the resolution to
Oh
Dragon Ball's
my
greatest
God,
unresolved
what a
conflict,
fight.
and
Yeah.
it was all disguised as a tournament.
I am happy with this being this high. This is just absolutely insane. Frieza and Android 17, two baddies fighting alongside Goku against another big bad, and it just looks cool. It's sick. There's high stakes. Oh my God, the action's awesome.
Finale. God, I love misdirection. While Jiren certainly serves as the physical obstacle of the arc, the true battle is against an ideology that's haunted the series since Namek. The tournament's final moments revealed that Jiren wasn't the only student who needed to learn the value of altruistic trust, it was also Frieza. Every moment of tension and uncertainty he brought to the arc stems from that same residual philosophical blindness that caused his self-destruction decades earlier. Since his defeat on Namek, Frieza has been unable to accept that what happened there was entirely self-inflicted, and this ideological stalemate remained unresolved for decades, until finally, backed up against the wall, staring down the black hole of almost certain erasure, Frieza asks, "You haven't forgotten the promise to resurrect me, have you?" He's asking for reassurance here. It's Frieza's first and so far only genuine moment of self-reflection and vulnerability, and it leads to one of the most thematically powerful responses from Goku in the series. Quote, "So long as you don't break your promise, I'll keep mine. You know that better than anyone, don't you?" With that one exchange, suddenly this scene transforms from the already strong climax it was of the arc and inherits the weight of decades worth of
So
character.
sick.
For the first time ever, Frieza chooses sincere cooperation over treachery. Stripped of his golden facade, when he and Goku finally fight side by side, it's the physical manifestation of the single longest running conflict in the series finally resolved.
So good.
Number 4.
Ooh.
This fight is a masterpiece.
I mean,
part,
yeah,
it
it's
trusts
pretty
movement
sick.
unconditionally, and therefore our understanding
Choreography
of
and the
these
follow
characters
into
at
this
home
just
to
unreal.
effectively carry the entire story.
Like you said in the fight, like the original breakdown of this in one of the videos. Right, it would have been in the review, wouldn't it? It would have been in the review. Yeah, so he didn't do the fights. Anyway, yeah, this fight, unreal. Totally designed for a small Goku with the rod, bouncing around on the hammer, taking his legs out for fighting. It just, the choreography is just unreal on this one.
Story of this conflict with minimal dialogue. Goku's approach presents him as the
Oh, just so cool. Look at that. Just bam.
He's always been. Downloading his opponent's capabilities, while Tamagami 3's responses
Swoop.
show a guardian testing the challenger's character rather than just their strength. The opening sequence structures itself as a chess match disguised as a brawl. Goku never repeats failed attacks, instead using each attempt to gather intelligence and systematically dismantle his opponent's defenses. When he eventually sheathes his Nyoibo after destroying Tamagami 3's weapon, this too carries meaning. The mutual respect shown when Tamagami 3 chooses to fight unarmed after witnessing Goku's honor demonstrates how great fighters recognize kindred spirits. Both warriors allow their opponent to dictate rules of engagement, creating a dance of mutual challenge rather than simple domination. Furthermore, the environment itself communicates the scope of the challenge and what's hanging in the balance. 20 years without anyone even attempting the trial, and the scars of past failures etched into the battlefield speak louder than any of the cheers of concern in the background. It establishes the scope of the challenge, of course, but additionally the level of hopelessness the world around them has grown to accept. The contrast between Goku's tiny stature and Tamagami 3's hulking presence further creates visual poetry, and the eventual Kamehameha Goku
great.
finally uses represents one of Daima's greatest individual strengths: restraint. By waiting 8 whole episodes to showcase Goku's signature technique, it regains the devastating reputation it held in early Dragon Ball. Ultimately, the fight embodies everything the story represents about martial arts as both physical and spiritual discipline, effortlessly revealing the mature warrior hidden deep within this juvenile body. Some of you might think this is too high for this fight to be, but in truth, there isn't another fight that even remotely comes close to the level of visual storytelling this displays. Number 3. Quite possibly the most consistently exciting fight in the entire series. We have the legendary confrontation between Vegeta and Goku. Goku believes...
It's that iconic that we've got Funko Pops of Goku in the pose and Vegeta in the pose. Both their separate poses when they're about to fight, and from the manga panel. We've got their own Funko Pops. And talking about Funko Pops, just a random one. I was so pissed off. They released a Goku in Super Saiyan form just after he's like beating Frieza. You know, where the gi's gone and he's like got black marks all over him. They only made 1,200 of them. Put them out on sale randomly, and it was on a random Australian site and something else. But they didn't even let people know ahead of time. I think they're releasing it like without the 1,200 pieces special thing, blah blah blah. But still, I wanted that. I've got every single Goku Funko Pop that you can get, pretty much, without like, you know, there's like, I think there's, was it random ones where it's like, ooh, this one glows in the dark, or there's one I've actually put in image shop in the checkout in one website where it's Kid Goku with his Yobo rod, but it's a glow in the dark version. I'm like, oh God, I'm so sad. Anyway.
Even the lowest born can outdo the elite if they work hard enough, while Vegeta counters with...
I might quickly show you the wall over here at the end of the video. I'll turn the webcam around and yeah.
I'll show you the wall you can never scale with hard work alone. Again, nature versus nurture. And from the beginning to end, every technique, every power-up, every moment of triumphant failure serves to explore what truly separates these opposing ideologies. With Vegeta, it's simple. His power is innate, a birthright, and for Goku, his power comes from the external, his teachers, his sacrifices, and collaborations. If you think about it, Goku is very much a cocktail of the masters that have come before him. When Goku ignites the burning intensity of the Kaioken, its power and utility is self-evident. Even Vegeta acknowledges this. What isn't as obvious is the enormous personal cost and risk associated with its every deployment, simultaneously making it the single most exciting move in the entire series, in my opinion, and the physical manifestation of the very ideal Goku embodies. All the while, Vegeta's transformation into the Ozaru is pure raw power with no apparent downside. At least not for Vegeta. For Goku, this side triggers a tragic realization, a connection and resolution to a plot thread left dangling for hundreds of chapters. This is the single most defeated Goku has ever appeared in the entire series of Dragon Ball. However, where there is tragedy and looming defeat, there also rests opportunity. The final
Yajirobe!
arc's genius lies in how it validates Goku's worldview through pure storytelling mechanics. Each ally's contribution feels essential and true to their story. Gohan's courage despite his terror, Krillin's selfless precision despite doubt, Yajirobe's perfectly timed intervention despite cowardice. The Spirit Bomb itself becomes a physical manifestation of the strength through others philosophy, requiring multiple people to execute effectively, but the finishing blow being delivered through Gohan's ape transformation, while convenient from a logic standpoint, is thematically poetic, with the very tool of Saiyan supremacy being the instrument of their greatest defeat. This fight is easily one of the best in the anime and stands forever as Dragon Ball's mission statement: true strength comes not from standing above others, but from lifting each other.
Right, so we got top 2 now. Is he going to surprise us and not have Goku Frieza as number 1? So it surely is number 1. That fight just changed everything forever. Like, forever. Everybody knows Goku versus Frieza on Namek. Super Saiyan. Everyone knows it.
Up. Number 2.
Oh, here we go.
There's something truly profoundly magical
Right, so it has to be Goku Frieza at number 1. It has to be.
about this fight and period of Dragon Ball full stop.
Big green.
I've written about this battle at length already, but I never seem to truly capture the intangible spark that makes this fight as profoundly uplifting as it truly is. Told through the lens of self-imposed limitations, revealing more character than any power display could ever hope to achieve, the final of the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, Goku vs. Piccolo Jr., is the coming-of-age climax to Goku's story and his coronation as the Earth's solitary, undisputed champion and defender simultaneously. Part of what makes this fight so extraordinary stems from a bizarre combination of two vital components. Through facing a formidable opponent in Piccolo, Goku deliberately handicaps himself with three implicit goals: defeat Piccolo, protect the spectators, and still win the tournament, making this entire fight the single loudest declaration of who and what Goku is in this story.
It's funny, I'm looking at the time. If it's Goku Frieza, there's going to be a lot to be said, and I am fine with it. Yeah.
While everyone else focuses on simply overcoming Piccolo, Goku maintains his principles even when survival is on the line. This framework therefore transforms every moment into a character statement. When he refuses help from Tenshinhan and Krillin, citing fears of disqualification, it establishes that Goku's integrity isn't situational and that his strength isn't just physical. It's a concrete and consistent morality under increasingly intense pressure. Occupying the pages of this final test for Goku are several creative and terrifying combat puzzles for him to overcome, ranging from the towering to the more understated. But every single time, Goku's response is composed and innovative. Firing the Kamehameha with his feet to free his hands, using misdirection and strategy to manipulate Piccolo into opening his giant mouth. This is how you demonstrate a character's intelligence without straight up telling us he's smart. Show them solving impossible problems through genuine, clever ingenuity. And that's what this fight is. It's a showcase. The entire series has built towards this philosophy. Train not to win, but to better yourself and protect the defenseless. Every tournament, every lesson from Roshi, every moment of growth has all led to this one moment. In the immortal words of Sam Tinez, "This is how legends are made." There's a critique often levied onto main characters in positions like this that find a way to rise from the ashes to save the day, and that's plot armor. But that's not at all what this is. This tenacity, it's the natural result of the character's core philosophy finally reaching maturity. Goku's evolution from the boy who relied on instinct to the young man who combines power with intelligence and frightening composure, by the way, is everything this arc needed it to be. The winner of the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai is Son Goku, not just because he's powerful, but because he's become everything Roshi had ever hoped he could be and more.
Hell yeah. Right.
Number 1.
We all know it. I'm going to be fuming if it's not. It's got to be Goku Frieza. It's got to be Goku Frieza.
This is possibly the most important fight I've ever seen.
Hell yeah, let's have it.
Without it, I might not be where I am today. And unlike any other conflict, Goku versus Frieza inspired me to look at fights less as entertainment and instead as vehicles for narrative subtext. The collaborative efforts of Earth's forces had never failed before. Teamwork, sacrifice, and collective strength had overcome every challenge up until now. Even when Goku
Yeah,
was the last
Frieza's
man
like
standing
this
in the past, he was
massive
always
obstacle.
standing on the shoulders of his past teachers. But against Frieza, these virtues prove catastrophically inadequate. The Spirit Bomb, the perfect manifestation of universal cooperation, fails. Every ally's contribution eventually comes up short, and defenseless, each one of them falls from Goku's side until all that's left is anger. When Goku erupts into Super Saiyan, the biological power-up that reveals itself, it seems to validate Frieza's central philosophy here, that only the will of the strong truly matters. The transformation abandons everything Dragon Ball previously celebrated about power's source, born from trauma rather than growth, isolation rather than connection. Yet these allies Goku dismissed to facilitate this one-on-one battle with Frieza continue to make moves behind the scenes. Using the Dragon Balls to undo Frieza's devastation, their teamwork literally defeats Frieza's plan in the end. So, hooray, right? Well,
Not
no.
quite.
With the war already won through the Dragon Balls, this fight must continue. Not to win, but to test two diametrically opposed worldviews. Goku fighting to test himself, Frieza fighting to retain his position atop the pecking order. Despite his aggressive transformation, Goku retains enough clarity to know when the battle is truly over. Fighting has never been about domination for him or winning, it's always been about the challenge. Frieza, on the other hand, cannot comprehend being surpassed. His entire existence has been synonymous with absolute supremacy, making Goku's superiority literally inconceivable to him. Which leads me to my favorite scene in the entire story. This mercy scene crystallizes both characters' true natures in ways neither anticipated.
Yeah, like even at this point, Goku's willing to like give him his power in hope that Frieza's gonna like just learn the error of his ways and stop being a bad man. And then Frieza instantly throws it in his face because he refuses to change.
Goku's charity shocks Frieza because no one with this level of power operates from genuine compassion in his mind. But rather than prompting reflection, it validates Frieza's worldview in a twisted fashion. Sympathy is a weakness to be exploited, and in this delusion, Frieza's own actions literally cut the legs from underneath him. His refusal to accept reality becomes increasingly self-destructive. Simultaneously, Goku loses his innocence, forced to reconcile with an uncomfortable truth. In the end, Goku vs. Frieza is Dragon Ball's most mature examination of power, responsibility, and the cost of maintaining one's principles in an unforgiving reality. When you're a child, you carry around these naive dreams of idealism until one day you wake up and you're an adult, and the black and white world you thought you had a good handle on suddenly reveals itself to be coated in terrifyingly subtle shades of grey. For me, Goku vs. Frieza acts as a sobering and honestly solemn reminder that sometimes the righteous path just doesn't exist, because sometimes there are those whose words alone cannot reach, those who refuse to see the value in life that you do, who no matter how unreasonably charitable you've been, cannot see beyond their own delusions of supremacy, fear, and greed because they can't change.
Damn, it just ends there. Wow. Well, fair enough. Right, let's see if I can turn this round to show you the Funkos. That's my Vegeta and Goku Funko Pop collection. Yeah. The room's still quite empty. I've got walls, posters to put on things and stuff, but yeah, that was really cool to check out. I really liked that. I'm so glad that the Goku... It was always going to be when it had to be. It'd be a bit weird if it weren't. But yeah, I'm glad that some Diamond fights ended up there. I think it's hilarious that GT is not on the list because he just hates GT. And I'm glad there was no fights from GT on there either because I'm not really a fan either. What have I got left? So we got the Dandadan review to check out from Tolly Mark. And then we've also got a video called The Undeniable Power of Animation, which I want to check out as well. And then Mark's obviously doing his little thing now where he's spending more time on his content, doesn't want to do the safe stuff. I've watched the video and good on him. Like I can't wait to see what he does in the future. And if you guys want to see him talk about One Piece and stuff, he is reviewing the chapters as shorts on YouTube Shorts. So if you subscribe to Mark, it should come up in the Shorts feed. So yeah, anyway, thanks very much for watching.